The voice of the president echoes through the room, over the din of reporters and U.S. officials. A shot is heard, and the room erupts into chaos as reporters and U.S. officials scramble out of the way. Secret Service rushes to protect the president and capture the shooter. One person is shot. The shooter flees. He's into a quick chase around the hotel. Finally, he's captured. His name? Cole Thomas Allen. Welcome to the Beacon. Welcome back. It has been a bit since I've done one of these types of episodes. My last one was on a specific person, and that turned out really well. So thank you for all of you who watched that. And if you're coming back to watch this one, welcome back and thank you. If it's your first time, welcome to the Beacon. Today, we're going to be talking about something that happened last weekend, starting on April 25th, and really continued throughout this last week. The third assassination attempt of Donald J. Trump. President Donald J. Trump. 45th and 47th president, he likes to remind us. Now, this is not the first, and probably won't be the last, first of his first achievement of President Trump. He is the first president to ever have 3 assassination attempts on his life, and 3 assassination attempts in the past 2 years. But why is this any different than the others? Well, it's not, but at the same time, it is. You see, it's not different because people are still trying to kill him. It's still the same violent party trying to get rid of him. But it's different because the person who attempted it, he was different. But first, before we get there, I just want to talk about a little bit of what happened. During the White House Correspondents' and Association's dinner last Friday night, April the 26th. Yes, it was the 26th. Uh, yes, 26th. Well, I don't know why I'm blanking on that. No, it's 25th, not 26th. April the 25th, a shooter tried to storm into the Washington and Hilton, where President Trump was holding this dinner. He rushed a Secret Service checkpoint and ended up shooting a Secret Service agent, but was eventually turned away and resulting in a chase around the hotel. He was carrying a 12 gauge pump action shotgun, which is your typical gun. It's when most people think of guns, they think of an AR or an AK or a 12 gauge pump action shotgun. It's the one where you got the classic. That is, yeah, that's what that gun is. So they chased the suspect around the hotel, and eventually, I believe they shot him in the leg, and then were able to capture him and arrest him. So, who was this mystery man who tried to shoot Trump? Okay, his name is Cole Thomas Allen. He is 31 years old, and he was a teacher and tutor in California. And that is the main difference between this shooting and the previous shootings. The previous shooters have been young, like early 20s. They have been, they were living much, they had a like very, very small digital footprint. And they were living in their parents' basements. This is different. Cole Thomas Allen, or Cole Allen, Mr. Allen, was he had a sizable social media presence. He had a steady job in California. He was tutor. He would tutor high schoolers in mathematics, biology, a few others. But his primary role was he was a counselor, uh, focusing on secondary education, and that's the danger. Because before, when it was kind of nobodies, we could push it off as nobodies. It's not a nobody who's trying to kill our president anymore. It's our teachers. And if a teacher is trying to kill our president, should he be a teacher? Teachers are respected a lot, respected so much that parents give them for access to their kids about 6 to 8 hours a day. They have to be respected. It takes a lot of respect to trust someone else with a kid for that long. And these teachers proving that they don't always deserve that trust. Mr. Allen and he was a counselor. He wasn't just a teacher, he was the one that students are supposed to go to. They have problems, they have questions. He's supposed to be like a layer more, slightly more trusted. And he flew across the country, tried to kill our president. What is that going to? What effect is that going to have on his students? One, they no longer have a counselor for the rest of the year. And also, what are they supposed to think? That it's okay to try to kill our president? Because it's not. I don't care if you disagree with their politics. It's not okay to kill anyone, but especially not the president. It's rarely works. I mean, there's been far more assassination attempts than successful assassinations. But this is just showing a larger trend of political violence. Over the past years, as I said, there has been 3 assassination attempts on President Trump. There has been a successful attempt on Charlie Kirk, and there's been so much more violence around. There's been storming of churches, storming of synagogues. There was a terrorist attack in New York a few months ago. Oh, when some Muslim teenagers they threw thankfully, a failed bomb at some protesters. This kind of violence, it's ramping up. There's all the violence against ICE officers. There's resulting in 2 people's deaths. This violence, it's just building. And these influencers are inciting it. As I talked last week about Hassan Piker, or maybe that was 2 weeks ago. Oh, I forgot when I uploaded that. These influencers are inciting violence. Since I uploaded that, I found yet another clip of Hassan Piker, or inciting violence, where after a debate with uh, Charlie Kirk, he was screaming about how he wanted to kill him. He wanted to murder him. And he pulled his same trick that he always does. And this time, even more sketchily than most. Usually he says that, and he says, in a video game, of course. But he did this whole tirade, stopped, and then remembered he had to say, in a video game, of course. And that's the truth. He doesn't want to kill Charlie Kirk. He didn't want to kill Charlie Kirk in a video game. Doesn't want to kill capitalists in a video game. Doesn't want to kill you in a video game. No, he just wants to kill you. And he's not the only one inciting this kind of violence. Our politicians, our influencers, are even people like Jimmy Kimmel, who we'll touch on a bit more later, have been inciting this kind of violence for months, if not years now. And that is the slippery slope that we are following. Because if we let this continue, then it's a slippery slope. So if we start down this path of allowing violence, we start down this path of allowing political violence to rule, then it quickly becomes acceptable. Our leaders start talking about it, even abstractly, and people start to listen. They start to follow. And when people start following and they see it successful, as in the case of Charlie Kirk, they want to try it again. I'm honestly surprised that we haven't had more attempts on President Trump's life since Charlie Kirk. It was bolstering for the left, as the left is primarily the primary proponent for political violence. It was bolstering for them and showing them that political violence works. So I'm not. So I am surprised that there hasn't been more assassination attempts. And this is the slippery slope that America has fallen into, and it's not good. It's we're quickly going down it, and we need to catch ourselves on something and start going back up that hill. Because if we reach the bottom, it won't be just President Trump getting shot at. It won't be Charlie Kirk. It'll be you. It'll be me. It'll be your neighbors. They will hunt us. They want to hunt us. But right now, they're not allowed to. All right, moving on to our second story from this past week. Jimmy Kimmel. So a few days before the actual shooting, Jimmy Kimmel made a joke at the expense of the Trumps, as he often has recently, and it wasn't really a joke. That's the thing with Jimmy Kimmel is he's gone. He's no longer a comedian. He's more like a weepy political anchor, news anchor, weepy news anchor. Not even a news anchor. He doesn't really tell you the news. He just babbles about and cries about political happenings that he disagrees with or agrees with. That's all that he's become recently. He's no longer the comedian. Late night television, late night comedy, the thing of the past. But either way, he made a joke about our first lady, Melania Trump, just a few days before the assassination. Here's the video.
Of course, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow. You know, Melania's birthday is on Sunday. That's right. She's planning to celebrate at home the same way she always does, looking out a window and whispering, "What have I done?"
And this distasteful clip came just months after Kimmel being suspended from his show after comments about Charlie Kirk. So he doesn't learn. He made very gross comments about Charlie Kirk, or immediately after the assassination of him, kind of celebrating it. Not too much, not as much as some people, but he was, and he got suspended. It wasn't long, just a few days, and then he's back on the air, and he was back on the air to do it again, to make gross jokes that they're not funny. They're distasteful. Uh, so we need to stop this. We can't have. There needs to be some kind of cancel culture. This is a difficult topic, but cancel culture, as it has been pretty bad. It's if you're a Republican, if you're conservative, you get canceled. That's the left's cancel culture. We need to go back to cancel culture as it was, where if you make a bad joke, or not even a joke, if you make a bad statement, a slanderous statement, you get canceled. And that's where Jimmy Kimmel is. He should be canceled. Well, he's not really saying anything useful. He's just harming. He's creating more spite. He's inciting more violence. So we need to cancel. We need to take down the the Jimmy Kimmel show, replace him with someone who's actually funny if we want to continue with late night comedy, or stop stop it altogether, replace it with a new type of show. But Jimmy Kimmel has lost his credibility. He needs to stop being allowed to get away with this over and over again. Anyways, I don't want to end this on such a down note. We've been talking about all these things that are dangerous to America, which is something that conservatives can fall into all too often. So I want to talk about some wins for us. Uh, the Supreme Court actually just ruled that states are not allowed to gerrymander due to race. They are not allowed to rewrite districts based on race. They must write coherent districts. Thanks. And that's a huge win. Uh, Especially with the midterms coming up. It could allow the Republicans to gain 7 seats, 7 or 8 seats. It's likely that we will gain 7 to 8 seats, which gives us a lot bigger cushion in case the midterms go askew. And with Iran kind of being ended, kind of not, there's a chance that the midterms might not go super great for us Republicans. But this ruling by the Supreme Court is huge. It might upset that. It might upset the political standards. I mean, that's what Trump's been doing this whole time, upsetting the political standards. Maybe the Supreme Court's finally doing that now. And yeah, that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching to the Beacon. I'm Connor Ryan, your host, and we'll see you next time here on, like I said, the Beacon. God bless you.